this video, we're gonna go over the basic maintenance for the Concept2 RowErg to keep it running like new for years and years to come. Before and after every use, we wanna make sure that our slide rail is nice and clean. We're gonna use a glass cleaner, any all-purpose cleaner. We don't wanna use something with bleach in it. To clean the rail, I'm just gonna spray my cleaner on my towel and wipe that rail down. Moving the seat, making sure I get the whole thing. And I can wipe that off so we don't have any black spots or dust or debris on there, and my rollers slide back and forth nice and smooth. If you do feel bumpiness on your rollers, and if you look at the rollers and they're dark colored and dirty, we can just take our towel and run that along the roller like so. We can hold that against it and then do the same thing on that back roller. And now that'll stay nice and smooth throughout our workout. We can clean the buttons on the monitor as well. I would not suggest spraying them directly. We want to keep the monitor nice and dry, but a little spritz on a towel and a wipe down is going to be fine. So that's kind of a daily check or a every use check, cleaning to keep this thing nice and smooth and running well. The next regular interval thing that we want to make sure we're taking care of on our RowErg is making sure the chain is oiled. We're going to use just a basic 3-in-1 oil. You can get this from us or pretty much any hardware store. We want to do this every 50 hours of use. A lot easier to do this with 2 people, but it's definitely possible to do it with 1. I'm not going to pour oil directly onto the chain. I'm going to take my oil and put a little bit of it on a shop towel, microfiber cloth, something that I don't mind getting a little dirty. Then I'm going to take the chain and we're going to pull it all the way out as far as we can. Set that down here. All right, I'm going to go all the way up to the front, and I'm just going to run that oiled rag up the chain, working it into the chain there. I'm just going to let that slowly come back into the machine. While you're doing this, you want to be feeling for any stuck, rough links. If you do feel some stuck links, you can just spend a little bit more time, put a little bit more oil into them, working that into the chain, getting them moving so they're smooth going over the sprocket. When you're oiling the chain, double check to make sure that your chain connector still has the brass swivel on there. This part protects the U-bolt and the chain link from excessive wear. Those can break under heavy use, so if you don't have that, we have those available. Give us a call, check our website. We can get you a new one. We just want to make sure the handle's in the right orientation, and we can drop that back in its holder. The 50 hours of use checkpoint is a good time to check a couple other things as well. We want to make sure our foot straps are in good condition. They're not frayed, that the buckle still works well, it grabs, but it also adjusts easily. If you have the older, smaller style of buckle, or if your foot straps are frayed or broken or coming apart, we do have replacement foot straps. Any replacement foot strap that you'll get now will come with this larger buckle that's a lot quicker and easier to get in and out of, which is helpful. So those are available and good to check as well. The other thing that I would check is just to make sure all of the fasteners, especially on your front legs, since those are part of the original assembly of the machine, are nice and tight. We can do that with our T27 driver that came with the machine. So that's just going to be the 4 screws here into the front foot, making sure those are nice and snug. And then the 2 up top on the front. And the 2 on that shorter front leg as well. And those are all snug in there. The next thing that you should check is make sure that your sensor wire cable is still routed properly. It's not getting pinched or tugged anywhere. This monitor cable is going to come out of the monitor and go into the monitor arm. If you have an older style monitor arm, it might be tucked into a gap along the side here, but we just want to make sure that that is kind of out of the way of getting tangled or anything. It's going to come out the bottom, and there's a little groove right along this support here that it tucks into, and a lip right behind the flywheel that it runs under up into the sensor housing. We just want to make sure that that is out of the way of the chain and it's not getting rubbed or caught or pinched on anything there. Another important part of your maintenance for your Concept2 is to update the firmware on your monitor. We release new firmware for the PM5 monitor generally about twice a year. The best way to do that is with our free ErgData app on any iOS or Android phone or mobile device. You can Bluetooth wireless connect to the PM5, and our app will actually tell you if there is an update available for the PM5 that you're connected to, and you can just follow the prompts in the app to update it wirelessly. Updating the firmware takes generally about 10 to 12 minutes. If you don't want to use the app, you can still use the Concept2 utility program on a Windows or a Mac OS computer as well, but ErgData is definitely the easiest way to do that and get notified when there is an update available. So the last thing that I would check, and this is something that is definitely going to depend on where you're keeping the machine, is making sure your flywheel housing is still clean. If you are keeping your machine and using it in a dusty environment, outside, in a garage, maybe in a CrossFit gym where you're dragging it inside and outside all the time, we're definitely going to want to make sure that we clean out the flywheel housing and make sure that it stays clean. This will affect the drag factor of the machine. It's very easy to do. You just need a fine point Phillips head screwdriver. First, we'll loosen the screws around the outside of the flywheel housing just a couple turns. Then we have a little connector right down here that we just need to loosen up. Give this a handful of turns. And this is just going to expand the purfring a little bit to make it easy to slide around. I'm just going to slide this purfring around like that, so I can see this connector here. Make sure that it is loose enough. And once it is loose enough, once there's a bit of a gap there, I can just pinch that together and that fastener will just come out like that. And now I can just slide this out. We'll just pull this around here. There we go. There we go. We can take that fully out and then, run this under some water, vacuum it off, wipe it off, whatever you need to do to clean that out and make sure that it is nice and shiny and still looking new. Once that's cleaned, we can actually have a look inside the flywheel and make sure that the flywheel itself and the fins are clean and we don't have stuff caught up in here. Or make sure it's not particularly dusty on the inside of the housing here. We definitely can take a vacuum and vacuum off the flywheel itself and vacuum out the flywheel housing before we put that purfring back in. Putting this perf back in is pretty simple. I'm just going to feed it back in the same way. There's a lip inside here that this rests on that I'm just going to slide it all the way around, keeping it in line. Now once we have it back in this position, we can hook our connector back together like so that fastener sits down in that notch. I'll have my screwdriver ready, and I'm gonna slide this back into place under there. Perfect. And now I'm just gonna tighten that back up. I don't need to crank down on this screw. I just wanna make sure that my perf ring is snug all the way around. And then we can also tighten the 4 flywheel housing screws. I'm just gonna feel along that edge, and it is nice and tight in there, so we are good to go. Keeping up with all of your maintenance on your RowErg will keep it running for years and years to come. If you do have any problems with the machine beyond what can be upkept with regular maintenance, definitely don't hesitate to reach out, shoot us an email, give us a call. We're always happy to help.